It's actually time to announce the winner of the Vandal competition by Panhead. Oh, take the shirt off. Da, 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 da. All for the sake of product placement. Da, 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 da. Boom. Da, 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 da. Ba, 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 ba. Can't get the last button undone. Da, da, ba, ba. I wonder if strippers have this issue. Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everybody. Far out. Christmas is over, New Year's is done. Time to get on to 2014 and start doing some cool stuff. And I've got lots of cool stuff that I'm going to be doing. Currently, the brewery is in a little bit of disarray. See? Mash tun, whoop, sitting down there. HLT sitting there with a couple of holes in it. There's a hole where the water goes in. There's a hole where the power goes in. Power being this element. Now, this element decided that it didn't want to go anymore, which is not surprising. It wasn't a, it was just a cheap little element that I quickly purchased to chuck in the HLT just to get it up and running. So I didn't expect it to last very long. So I need to replace that element with a far more superior stainless steel element or something similar. But anyway, things happen. They just tend to happen on a brew day. I managed to avert the issue of not having an HLT by using my kettle to heat up my water and transfer it over to the HLT, and the HLT to transfer it to the mash tun. Oh, where are you? Oh, there you are, sit down there. So that sort of solved the issue, and I could still have my brew day. So anyway, here's a quick little bit. Oh, actually, brew day, this is what I brewed. It is sitting in here. Hello! You got a bubble for me? Bubble for the camera. There we go. Good bubble. Bubble. And bubble again. Go. Yes, good bubble. See, sometimes you can work with fermenters. Anyway, this is a New Zealand Pale Ale, and it's just got 7 kgs of pale malt in it, and a little bit of acidulated malt. And it was just a brew that I needed to, well, I don't really need to do it, I like doing it. This is the first beer that I've reused yeast on. So the yeast cake that's in there came from here. Came all the way out of this little hole. Up there. That's where it came from. So yeah, still sitting in here is the first version of the New Zealand Pale Ale, which is fermenting away. Another thing is I thought my temperature would be stable all the way through, and we had a really quick cold snap and it dropped down to about 18 degrees, and then we had a hot snap and I came up to about 22 degrees within the same day. So yeah, yeast doesn't really like that kind of temperature fluctuation, but hey, we live and learn. I knew it was going to be a little bit of a gamble not having it in temperature controlled fridge, but I wanted to get something in it and see how it was going to work. So anyway, I took the yeast out from the bottom. If you missed it, it was all the way down here with this little thing. Put it in one of those. Gave it a wash. Sat it on the old stir plate sitting here. Made a starter, a 2-litre starter. Brewed a beer, which we'll cut to me brewing the beer now. Alright, time for another brew day. Had some grains milled and I was going to do it on New Year's Day, but I didn't. So I better get it done before I go back to work. So it's just a simple pale ale, and I'm just using up all my old hops. So I have 7 kg of pale ale malt and a little bit of acidulated malt in there, ready to underlet. So my HLT has got 65 degree water in it, and I will be pumping that through and under the grain bed. So there we go. So the water is coming through and coming into here, which means that it slowly seeps up and equalises. So the water here goes down slowly and raises in here. And that what that does excuse me, is it gets rid of any air pockets because the water is filling up from the bottom up, so all the air gets pushed out, which means I don't have to stir up my mash or anything like that. Okay, our mash is recirculating, so we have a nice steady whirlpool that's sort of going around on the surface, and that whirlpool is vortexing it down to this, all the way through the grain bed, down into the centre dip tube, which is picking it up and putting it through the heat exchanger. Now, the work coming out from the heat exchanger is right here. It's coming out at 63 degrees, the temperature that I want. And I've just got my old trusty thermometer here, and I've been poking it through the grain bed and just checking what the temperature is right down the bottom. And what I found is that this entire area is all 63 degrees throughout the grain bed, but right here where you can see the water come around and it creates a little bit of a whirlpool there, well, in the centre of that little whirlpool down the bottom, it's actually 5 degrees colder. It's 58 degrees down there. So this little thermal well here is sticking out a little bit into the mash, and that's what's creating that island, because it's breaking the flow as it comes around, and it's forming this little island here, which in turn is creating a little bit of a whirlpool over here that's creating a cool spot. So there we go. Problem solved. I need to take this thermal well out and bung it up. And there's the clarity. Look at that. Ooh, good stuff. It's cool. Okay. Surprise, surprise, battery is running low on the camera again. So I have decided that all of the flavouring hops are all going in at once. I'm not going to do continuous hopping because I haven't got a hop spider. It makes it a bit hard to pull the bag out all the time. So the bittering hops are in there. Now the bittering hops were the Zythos, and all the other hops that are in this little bag here is the Kahutu, Nelson Sauvin, Motueka, Cascade, Columbus and Centennial. Hello. So they'll be going in 30 minutes before the end of the boil on a 90-minute boil. So if I don't see you again, it's because the camera's run out of battery and I haven't had a chance to charge it up. If I do see you again, you'll see more video. Oh, and here's the starter. The starter has been whirring away for the past 24 odd hours, so that is going to make it go nuts when I put that in there. After I brewed the beer, because normally my battery runs out as I'm brewing a beer, I can't film the whole lot, I got it into the fermenter and it bubbled, good boy, within an hour. Yay! Right, I am drinking. This is my Dr Rudi's Pils. Well, it used to be Dr Rudi's Pils. This is a Pilsner that I brewed 3 months ago. Yeah, 3 months ago. Alright, Pilsners take too long. And it was a smash Pilsner. It just had pale ale malt. No, it didn't. It had Pilsner malt, sorry. It had 8 kg of Pilsner malt and Dr Rudi hops, and that was it. So it was just going to be a smash Pilsner. After it fermented out at a really low temperature, because I fermented it at 13 degrees Celsius, it took about 5 weeks, and I ramped it up for a diacetyl rest and it started to remove the sulfur, and sulfur, far out, it was full of sulfur. So there was a really, really high sulfur aroma that was coming out of this. And I was a little bit worried. I was like, oh, stroof, I fucked this up. But I transferred it out of the fermenter and I chucked it into a keg, and I dried hopped it with the remaining of the Dr Rudi's hops, super alpha hops. Let that dry hop a little bit, had a little taste. Ooh, fuck, it's still really sulfury. Okay, I haven't lagered it yet, so the sulfur hasn't had a chance to settle out, die down, disappear, fuck off, do whatever the hell it does. But I wasn't happy with it, and I was like, I don't want to waste it. I don't like brewing lagers and pilsners because they take too long to lager. 3 months. I want to brew something and drink it within a month. So I thought I'd better resurrect this because I didn't have any brews planned. It was coming up to Christmas. I wanted this ready for Christmas time. So I decided to citronate it. Yep. I dry hopped it with about 100 grams of Citra hops. That did the trick. Bumped the flavour up quite well, really. But what it did do is it made it milky white. It looked like hop milk. So the beer was pouring like, you couldn't see through it. You couldn't put your hand, a light, any source of light in front of it and see through it. It was milky. It was really milky. And that's a little bit of a byproduct of the Citra hops, really, is that they do form a lot of chill haze. So it's taken a very long time for it to eventually get down to this, that I can actually start to see through it. I'm not quite happy with it yet. It still has a little bit more cleaning up to do before I'll bottle it up and fire it out to some people to taste, but it smells good. The Panhead Vandal. Right, Panhead, see? Panhead Custom Ales. A little bit of product placement there, a bit more product placement. Right, I said I was going to give one of these away, and I am. Okay, I'm not reneging on the competition. I am going to give one of these bottles of beer away right now. Okay, one lucky recipient around the world is going to score themselves the Vandal by Panhead Custom Ales. But first, I asked you to PM me the answer of who this beer was brewed in honour of. And there was a couple of people that didn't quite get it right. There was a couple of people that spelt the name wrong, but that's okay, you got the right sort of thing. So in total I got quite a few entries come through, and there was about 34 odd correct entries that came through. So you have a 1 in 34 chance of winning this bottle of beer. Now the Vandal, look at that. Look at that. This is a unique beer. This is a very, very unique beer. Here's actually a picture of the real car. That is the Vandal. Now that was built by John Reid back in the late 1960s. He was a custom hot rod builder. He is a custom hot rod builder in New Zealand. And the Vandal sort of took the hot rod scene by storm. It was new, it was different, it was, yeah, it was something fresh. Unfortunately now the Vandal doesn't exist. The Vandal was rebuilt into Black Sabbath, and here's a picture of Black Sabbath. Now, why, you may ask, did Panhead Brewery dedicate a beer to John Reid and call it the Vandal? Well, here's why. This is Mike Nielsen's hot rod, built by John Reid, and Mike Nielsen is the owner and head brewer from Panhead Brewery. So there's the linkage. John Reid has decades of experience in building hot rods, and he custom built a hot rod for Mike Nielsen from Panhead Brewing in Upper Hutt. I'm not sure whether Mike still has the hot rod. I do remember sitting on the back tyre of the hot rod one day around at his garage, but I hadn't asked him actually whether the hot rod has been converted into a stainless steel fermenter to help the launch of his brewery. It may still be sitting in a garage somewhere, and if Mike did sell it to help the brewery, buy some more Panhead so that he can go and get John Reid to build him another hot rod, because he deserves to cruise around in a decent looking car, doesn't he? Hey? Right, so should we do the draw? I'll just have another sip of this. Just a quick little shout out to Bush6800. Now Bushy, he's over in Australia, and he fired up a video about doing his first kit redo. Now a while back I sort of laid down a little bit of a loose challenge to sort of say, hey, remember the first kit that you did? What would you do differently if you brewed it again? And Bushy's decided to do it, and he's doing a video of his rebrew. So check that out and go and subscribe to his channel and see what's going on. Now I'm going to be doing the rebrew as well. I just haven't got myself a fermenter space actually to brew it, but it is lined up, and I'll be doing a video of how I'm going to do the first brew that I did differently with all the things that I've learned. But yeah, cheers Bushy for participating in that. That's cool. So here we go. On my phone I have a little application. Let's focus on that. called Name in a Hat. Now in Name in a Hat there is something called Vandal, and if I have a look at modify, there's our names. So there's everybody that entered. So quick look. See your name in there. That you have correctly answered all the questions that were required to go into the draw. So when I tap this screen, one random name from that list will appear, and that will be the lucky recipient of the Vandal by Panhead Custom Ales. So here is the bottle sitting here eagerly waiting to watch what goes on. Oh, I need a drink. Gripping stuff. Okay, we're ready. 1, 2. Now remember, it's the name that comes up. Okay, there'll be a name that comes up here, and that's the winner. Okay, right, start again. 1, 2. Actually, what else has been going on? The mead. Here it is. Sitting next to some boxes of some Panhead. It's slowly going. I've raked it off. I have given it a test and given it a taste. It doesn't taste too bad. It's still got a little bit of way to go. It's still bubbling every now and then. But yeah, so there's my mead. Tease, aren't I? Right. Yep, back to it. Oh, phone went flat. Okay, I press this and the winner will be announced on 1, 2. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Paul Ishire. Congratulations, Paul. This little beer is coming to you. Cheers, buddy. Thank you very much for entering into the competition, and I will PM you and get your details, and we'll get this fired off to you as soon as I possibly can. But yeah. So, my battery is running low. Just to recap on that, here's Paul. He is the winner. Well done. My battery is running low. There's some more things I wanted to talk about on the Homebrew Wednesday, but I'm possibly going to run out of time. So I'll just say cheers. Congratulations, Paul. Happy Homebrew Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to next week's Homebrew Wednesday. I'll just put my beer down when I taste this. Where is it? Dun, 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 dun. There is a beer there that says Han on it. That is the Hannibal Ale. Yeah, you heard me right. Hannibal Ale. It is brewed with liver, fava beans, and a little bit of Chianti. So yeah, that is the beer that's got some meat in it. I will be doing a special homebrew review of that beer. But until then, happy Homebrew Wednesday, everybody, and cheers. Have yourself another one. A bigger one than that because that was too small.